What's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Recap with E-Man. And today we're going to just go over a couple of things that have transpired over last week in the entertainment world. And, we'll start with a little bit of the bad news. Thankfully, this week it hasn't been as bad as the previous weeks, and we've got a little bit more, interesting things to talk about. And by the end of the episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about the most thrilling and exciting thing you absolutely need to watch on Netflix. But anyway, let's start off with just like the bad news of the week so far. Well, unfortunately, analysts are saying that AMC Theaters could be filing for bankruptcy. And that really does suck because, with all the lockdowns and quarantine and shutdown stuff, businesses are going to suffer. I mean, I'm not about to sit here and, boo-hoo for million-dollar corporations or whatever. I'm more so concerned with, like, the employees because those are everyday people, that work there. So it kind of sucks that some people are probably going to be furloughed or laid off. But, hopefully these companies will, maybe somebody will come through and buy AMC. And I think that that's actually kind of interesting, right? I don't know the numbers. I'm no financial analyst or anything like that. But I would think it'd be really interesting if, I don't know, Apple were to come in and just buy AMC Theaters. I mean, Apple has like $1 billion just sitting there in cash. So that'd be a very interesting thing for them. Now, again, I don't know if they would actually do it. But another potential buyer I could see being maybe interested, and I don't know if they have the money for it, would be Netflix. Because it wasn't too long ago, I want to say like 2-3 years ago, Netflix was considering purchasing I think it was Landmark Theaters, or one of them. It was one of the smaller theater branches. They were considering to buy them mainly because, of all the Oscar talk and how streaming movies weren't really considered Oscar worthy for award considerations. And, the awards committees, they have like all these different rules, like a movie has to be playing in the theaters for such and such time and so many locations and blah, blah, blah. So I think it'll be kind of interesting if some company out there comes in and rescues AMC Theaters, buys them up, and for all we know, hey, maybe, it won't be AMC. Maybe it'll be Netflix Theaters, Apple Theaters. I don't know. Moving on, Ezra Miller. Have y'all heard this news? My man is out here choking people like his name was Wayne Brady. Like, I don't understand what was going on. This situation sounded almost made up. Supposedly, he was in Iceland in some store, and I guess like a group of fans came up to him, and some reports are saying that, they were antagonizing him in a sense. One report was saying that one of the fans were kind of like goading him into a fight, and he just was like, oh, you want to fight? And, he's like fighting with them, I guess, and like takes this woman and, brings her down to the ground, and supposedly or reportedly he spat on them as well. Whoa. I don't know. Look, I get it. If you're a celebrity, I can only imagine, being out in public can be stressful, especially if you have a lot of fans who, let's be honest, sometimes they don't respect people's privacy, and sometimes fans can cross the line. Totally get that. However, I'm going to need you to like either have a bodyguard, or have a friend or somebody else put the hands on the other people for you, or just kind of be a human shield, because, dude, this is not a good look. I mean, you cannot assault people. Now, if it was self-defense, totally understand. I get that. But you cannot lose your composure like that. What are you doing? Come on, man. You got one job, as Barry Allen. Go mess up the timeline. You ain't got to be messing up your real life now. This is just not smart. All right. Well, next up, Disney is apparently making a live action CGI remake of Robin Hood. Do you guys remember the animated movie Robin Hood? You know, with the fox and the bear and all that stuff. You know what? I remember watching this when I was younger, and I don't remember much of it beyond that. I mean, this movie was, I think, 1973 or something like that. It's an old Disney movie. I don't remember it being bad or anything, but I don't think it's, that top tier Aladdin, Lion King, type of level. And it's interesting because the reports are saying that they want to make this a CGI or live action, type of remake. But what's interesting is the fact that they say that they want to make the animals more expressive, right? So if you've seen the Lion King remake, the live action one, or if you've seen the Jungle Book recently, those had more realistic looking animals. And it sounds like, Disney's going to kind of swerve a little bit and maybe go with the same feel, but have the animals have more expressions on their faces. This is a weird territory, I think, because if you're trying to be real, like with the Lion King, I didn't really have much of a problem with the fact that, Simba wasn't going like this or blowing a raspberry or whatever, like that to me is in the realm of animation. If your actual intention is to be realistic, animals don't smile, not like that. So, it's kind of weird when you want to blend the two because one is always going to compensate and sacrifice the other. When you try to make it more realistic, but then you try to make it more animated in a sense, like it's just, I don't know if you can really find that perfect compromise. But either way, I mean, I'm interested in this, mainly because, again, I don't remember the original animated movie. So reports are also saying that they're going to drop this Robin Hood movie onto Disney Plus as an exclusive. And I think that's great. I don't think that this movie would have been something people would be flocking to the theaters, eventually whenever we can go back to the theaters. I don't think people are going to be running to the theaters for this, again, because it's not, Aladdin or Beauty and the Beast or Lion King or anything like that. It's not one of those things that has that nostalgic factor that's going to, I think, drive people straight to the theaters. So you might as well drop it on Disney Plus. As I've said many times before, Disney Plus needs all the help that they can get. So this can definitely be a positive for Disney. Here's some other good news. Parasite is now on Hulu. I know I am way overdue for dropping my review for Parasite, but in case you haven't heard from me or on my other social media platforms, go watch Parasite. It is absolutely worth the watch. Fantastic movie, well deserving of all the awards that it received during the Oscar run. It is so entertaining, so suspenseful. It is just a wonderful blend of comedy and drama, and it's a beautiful, complete story. If you are, avoiding subtitles or, if you're afraid of foreign films, again, this is one of those movies you need to make an exception for. Get over it. The story is good enough. The characters are fun and engaging. That family is crazy. It is too much fun for you to avoid. Go watch Parasite. Hopefully I'll have my review up very soon, and once I do, I'll post the link so you guys can check it out. Alright, news also dropped that Atomic Blonde 2 is in early development at Netflix, and Charlize Theron is going to be back. And you know what? I'm okay with this. I feel like this should definitely be a Netflix type of movie because if I recall, Atomic Blonde didn't really do that well in theaters. Like, it did okay. It didn't flop, but at the same time, the movie, I want to say it was like the biggest highlight that I can remember just off the top of my head without really going back to look at it was the last, I want to say last 20 minutes or something like that. There was like a big action set piece or something, well choreographed. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the director was a former stuntman. And, it's kind of in that realm of when a stunt person goes from being a stunt man or coordinator into a director, they really emphasize those really cool action scenes and stuff. And Atomic Blonde, outside of maybe like the certain reveals and plot twists and stuff, I think that was the biggest thing to it. So, hey, Netflix is the perfect place. Drop it right there. We'll have something interesting to watch. I personally will always watch anything that Charlize Theron is in. So, I was sold from that alone. Anyway, the other thing that's been happening this past week were that there were a couple watch parties that happened, and one of them was from director James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies for Marvel. One thing that he did was they went back and watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and kind of went over, a couple of interesting facts and things over his Twitter feed. And you're definitely more than welcome to go check out his Twitter and just kind of read some of the interesting comments. But there were just a couple things that I think stood out the most to me. One thing that he did mention in terms of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was that we're definitely going to get more of a backstory to Rocket Raccoon. So Rocket's, whole background of like the people that made him, why they made him, why he has, those cybernetic things on his back and all that. We will definitely be getting a lot more insight into him. Okay, all right, I guess. To be honest with you, I don't really know what else I would be looking for in a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel, except for Adam Warlock. When are we going to get Adam Warlock? Honestly, this is like the biggest disappointment, I think, within not only the Infinity War saga, but also in the Guardians of the Galaxy collection. Like, this is their thing. It's almost like having a Fantastic Four, let's say, franchise, and you never reveal, I don't know, Galactus. Adam Warlock needs to be in anything and everything cosmic related. And the fact that we've only been teased with a post-credit scene, and it's been like 20 plus movies and we still haven't seen him yet. Come on, man. Stop. Just, and not to mention the fact that the Infinity Saga is like Adam Warlock's biggest thing. Like, that's his story for, a good amount of time. So, okay, I guess we get more Rocket. Yay. But what I noticed with James Gunn is that he does like to have more emotional, character depth in his movies and stuff. Volume 2, which some people didn't like as much as Volume 1 for Guardians of the Galaxy, it was a deep character dive into, a lot of the different relationships with, Peter and his father and Gamora and Nebula and, just all these different things. So, if we're going to do it with Rocket and I don't know, I just hope that they give us something deeper. And again, something that pushes, the MCU forward. But later on in James Gunn's tweets, I started to notice something else, which is the fact that Marvel is kind of loosey-goosey when it comes to how they're developing their cosmic landscape. So one of the things that a fan asked James Gunn about was, how hard was it to figure out the Infinity Stones for the first time, in terms of introducing it to the MCU. And, James Gunn just admitted that they didn't know that it was going to be as big of a deal as it turned out to be, which is kind of strange to me because I'm like, all right, you're making, the Infinity Stones in 13, give or take, because Guardians of the Galaxy came out in 2014. You're making this after one of the biggest movies at the time, which was the first Avengers. We saw the whole, Thanos thing, and they're clearly leading up to all that. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, you mean Marvel just didn't have much of a plan for this? Like, you guys knew Thanos was coming. You set this up. You knew that Thanos was going to be infinitely tied some way or shape or form to the Infinity Stones, and you just didn't know. You just didn't. That part kind of concerns me just a little bit. Not to say that I don't believe James Gunn. I do believe that that was the case, mainly because of his other confession, which was the situation with the Infinity Stone itself. The Power Stone that was in Guardians of the Galaxy originally, and supposedly, it was going to be red, and they had to change it to purple in post-production. Once again, it's like, hey, we're just playing around with all this stuff. We're working as we go. And I get it. I mean, this has kind of been Marvel from the jump, right? Like, ever since Iron Man 2, Marvel's kind of been like, oh, wait, we actually have a green light. We're not going to go out of business. We can keep on doing this thing. We can make this bigger and better. Cool. So it's like they've been just planning certain things here and there. And we saw that even with the Mind Stone originally being blue and Loki's scepter, but then it ended up turning yellow once it got cracked open, mainly because the Tesseract or the Space Stone was also blue, and you couldn't have two blue ones, so it's kind of like, alright. So hopefully moving forward, Marvel gets all this stuff together, and, they don't have to keep, improvising as they go. Well, James Gunn was not the only Marvel director to do a watch party. Taika Waititi also did it for Thor Ragnarok on his Instagram. And, Taika released a lot of interesting information, which was kind of all over the place, because Taika seems like a weird, all over the place kind of guy. But a couple of tidbits that he did drop. One thing that he mentioned was that it was kind of like being locked in a room with a bunch of 10-year-olds, asking them, what do you want? And they just said yes to everything. I'm kind of worried about that. And I'm not going to lie, because the one thing that was really cool about Thor Ragnarok, I think, was the fact that it was given a little bit more room to breathe in terms of being different. Right? So the first two Thor movies, I will go on record and continue to say, were not good. They were just really not good. Thor Dark World had some potential to be really good. I mean, what they were doing with Loki, really good. Some of the other things, with Thor and his father and mother and all that, good stuff. But the movie as a whole was just not executed very well. And Thor 1 was just boring. It was a straight up boring. But when I kind of sit back and think about like what really made Thor 3 work was the fact that some of the humor and stuff was done in doses, right? And the doses is an important thing that I think a lot of people tend to forget. And this is with any comedy too. Sometimes when we have a movie that is just so hilarious, or let's just say even a side character, let's use that, right? If there's a movie that has a side character that's really, really funny, what tends to happen in like a sequel, the producers, director, creatives will be like, oh, people really enjoyed this, let's give them more. And it's kind of like, I don't think so. Because more is not necessarily always better. Sometimes it's nice to have that dose of humor or comedy in the same quantity that made it so popular before. So I'm worried about Taika Waititi just kind of making Thor 4 too extra, too over the top, and frankly, too weird. And I just don't know if that's really a good route for Thor 4. Well, what Taika did reveal was that the Asgardians are going to try and fit in more with the Norwegian people. This new Asgard is going to kind of take more form, especially with Valkyrie as the new ruler. Jane is obviously going to become a Thor of her own, very similar to the comics. We're going to get more of a background for Korg. I don't really know why. I mean, this is again one of those situations where I'm like, yeah, funny side character. I don't really think I need to know more. I don't think I really need more of Korg. I liked them in those very small doses. There is a chance that the Guardians of the Galaxy will, be in the movie, maybe in the very beginning, and then they just go off somewhere else. I could see it as being something as simple as, Star-Lord and Thor just get into an argument and they just literally dump Thor on some random planet and leave. And that's it. Taika Waititi did mention his love for Beta Ray Bill, and there wasn't really confirmation that Beta Ray Bill would be in Thor 4. And it's kind of weird because, we've gotten hints already that Beta Ray Bill exists in the MCU from Thor Ragnarok, but Kevin Feige has been on record of saying, yeah, we're not going to bring him in because we really want him to be featured a little bit more than just having like a small role. So, I think we're not going to get Beta Ray Bill until maybe you actually hear some casting news that a prominent actor probably will play the role of Beta Ray Bill. Because otherwise it's kind of like, well, if you weren't going to bring him in Thor 3, why would you bring him in Thor 4 if he doesn't really have something substantial to do in the plot? So until we get some casting information, I'm just not betting on Beta Ray Bill being a thing yet. Taika also confirmed that we will not be getting Silver Surfer, unfortunately, which, you know what, I'm okay with that. Like, I never really associated Silver Surfer being in the realm of Thor anyway. I know of the newer comics where they are kind of crossing over and everything, but I just kind of picture Silver Surfer being more of a thing, if not for Guardians of the Galaxy, but something for Fantastic Four. So one of those two franchises, to me, would make more sense to introduce the Silver Surfer anyway. Waititi did say that Christian Bale was not going to play the Silver Surfer, but a lot of speculation out there is suggesting that Christian Bale, who is going to be the villain in Thor 4, he's going to play Gore the God Butcher. I personally have not read up on the Thor comics with the God Butcher, so I need to kind of go do my own research on that. I hear that he's a pretty formidable, enemy for Thor, so I'm looking forward to that. But for the time being, all we know is that Christian Bale is going to be the villain and no Silver Surfer. Also, Waititi was mum when it came to whether or not Loki was going to appear in Thor 4. Which, let's be honest, Loki's gonna be in Thor 4. Where else is Loki gonna be? Yes, he has his own Disney Plus series and all that, but come on now. Loki's been in every single Thor movie, and you mean now he's just not gonna show up? Stop playing. Come on. He's gonna find a way to do it. And I've already introduced how Loki could actually appear in Thor 4. If you go and check out my theory video, which I will definitely leave a link for that as well, I show you how Loki will appear in Thor 4 and how he is going to be connected to Jane getting her powers and becoming Thor as well. So make sure you go check that video out if you haven't already. What else? Taika also said that we might be getting a new version of Hulk. Whatever. I don't even care. You guys already know. If you've seen my video on what Marvel has been doing with the Hulk over the MCU, I am over the Hulk right now. It's just, it's so frustrating, and I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to stress myself out with that anymore, but I don't care. I don't care what they want to do with the Hulk until you give me Savage Hulk or you give me like Planet Hulk. So you need to give me Hulk. I don't want to see no more of this Smart Hulk, or I don't want, let me be clear. I don't want to see Mark Ruffalo Hulk. Okay, Bruce Banner Hulk. I don't want to see them just in green skin and, playing more to the actor rather than to the character himself. So I don't care. But whatever, we're going to get a new version, so we'll see what that does or whatever that means. And last but not least, no more Fat Thor. According to Taika Waititi, he believes that that route with Thor has already been explored and it's done, and that's fine. I know some people had some issues with Fat Thor and how Marvel treated the character. Personally, I'm not as adamant or upset about it, mainly because I understood their intention. I understand that, they did poke some jokes at Thor, and And that lack of sensitivity definitely rubs some people the wrong way. I totally get it. However, I do think that the overall intention behind Fat Thor still weighs a lot more than the couple of jokes that they threw. I mean, Thor was incredibly depressed. He was really going through some trying times. He was like really an encompassing of another, what are those, the stages of grief or whatever. So I get it, but thankfully I think everybody can agree we'll be very happy to see him move on from that. And, hopefully, hey, Thor will come back in Thor 4. Maybe he ate some salads and did some Pilates or whatever, and he'll be back to the Thor that we've all known, if not more powerful, hopefully more powerful as well. So that's what we can look forward to in Thor 4. We'll see what happens. So with all that said, I have been watching Money Heist on Netflix. Oh my God. The weird thing is, I've had Money Heist in my queue Netflix for, I don't know, 2-3 years or something like that. And, it was just one of those things. I just kind of looked at it and I was like, whatever, and I probably had some foreign bias in that as well, because sometimes I'll look at foreign series and be like, I don't feel like dealing with the dubs, I don't feel like dealing with this or that. And, let me just kind of wait it out, right? Just to see if it'll last. And all of a sudden I just keep seeing Money Heist, Money Heist. And of course, during quarantine, there's nothing else to do. So I'm like, all right, I'll just give it a shot. Let me tell you something right now. Money Heist is one of the best shows on Netflix that you are not currently watching, and you need to watch it. It is like, how can I put it? It's kind of like, if you like Prison Break, it's definitely Prison Break with a mix of Death Note. If you've watched, not the Netflix Death Note, but like the animated Death Note, right? That classic cat and mouse game between, a bank robber and the police and stuff. Don't get me wrong, there are some flaws with this series. I mean, sometimes people are over dramatic. There are, I want to say, some cultural differences because this was made in Spain. So there are certain things in Spanish culture that, I think in American culture, we'd be like, why are they doing that? Or why do they care about this? Or, so, it'll just be like little nuances like that. But, at the end of the day, you just have to kind of respect cultural differences. Like, that's just, everybody's not going to act the way Americans act in certain things. And, that's kind of the beauty of society, is that it's diverse in that sense. But, some of the voiceover dubs, are a little iffy at times, but that's not why you're watching this. That's not why you will watch this. Why you're going to watch Money Heist is because of the schemes and the plans and the fact that you never know what exactly is going to happen. It is intense. I'm talking about, like, you're sitting here cheering for the bad guys, of course, but then bad things happen, but there's always a plan, but then the plan goes wrong, and then it's a plan versus another plan, and then you got some stupid person that acts dumb. Let me tell you something. I hate Arturo. Arturo, that guy, I hate him. Oh, he gets on my nerves. Arturo gets on my nerves. Tokyo gets on my nerves. Who else get on my nerves? Just them two. Just Rio. Rio gets on my nerves too. A couple of them get on my nerves. I am so tired of Denver's laugh. Stop it. Just stop it. But the professor, easily. I mean, that's your Walter White in Breaking Bad. The professor is probably one of the greatest TV characters we've ever seen. I'll just say it right there. He is absolutely enjoyable. It is so much fun. I love my man Berlin. Berlin is in there. Look, Money Heist is an absolute watch. Like, you have to go see it. But this is the most important thing that you have to understand before you go watch it. Right now, as I'm shooting this, there are 4 parts or 4 seasons of Money Heist. Every episode is around like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And I want to say there are like 8 to 9 episodes per season. Only watch the first 2 seasons. And the reason why that is so critically important is because after the second season, there's a natural break in the story where if you stop right there, that's all you need to see, right? And that's all you need to see until Netflix releases part 5, whenever that is. Because right now, I blew through the entire 4 seasons, right? Mainly because I wanted to be as informed as possible before talking about this series to you all. But the way the 4th season ends, it leaves you on a huge cliffhanger. And I'm telling you right now, if you binge this show as hard as I binged it and enjoy every ounce of it as much as I enjoyed it, you're going to regret watching it all the way up to the 4th season because you just get left on this stupid high cliffhanger. And the show leaves you on cliffhangers every episode. I want to say 80% of the episodes, like not a couple, not like the season finale. I'm talking about every episode leaves you on a wonderful cliffhanger that makes you want to watch the next one. But you have to watch only up to season 2. I cannot stress that enough. Please do not torture yourself because right now I'm in agony. Like I got done watching this thing and I'm like, I need more. Where is my morning heist? But anyway, that's all I got for today, guys. Let me know, what are you guys watching on Netflix? I want to see if there's anything else. I need to fill in the gaps now. I know I got a whole list of things, but, I'm very interested if you guys have more recommendations. If there are any other topics, questions, or questions that you guys might have for me that I can put into the next episode, please feel free to let me know. Shoot me an email at askeman411@gmail.com. Again, that's askeman411@gmail.com. I've got way more videos and reviews to do for you all. And until next time, I'll see you all later.